up, guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. Water is wet and RPS members are shipping as usual. Our NBA content has been on fire since the beginning of the season. I kicked off the week by shipping a WFBBC seat on FanDuel using a low-owned Isaiah Livers recommended on the Premium Final Countdown show.
I hope he comes off the bench because I know for a fact they love this kid. They're going to give him run no matter what. They're probably going to push him, and he's $3,100.
Our premium content comes through big time, whether it's our up-to-lock shows, heat maps, core plays, or playbook. Join us today so you can start shipping too. I wasn't the only one shipping a seat last week. Our guy Locke secured a DraftKings NBA Live Final seat as well. AP's core plays from Sunday helped a bunch of members win too. Junior hit for $3,000, while Nick Story shipped for over $15K. Steve Boynton used our core plays and playbook to make a late swap that won him $3,000 in NBA. And Punisher used the NBA heat map to ship $100,000 on DraftKings. As always, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on this video as well. Keep the good mojo going. Our NFL dominance continued into week 8 as well with some big wins. D-Hops shipped for $4K on FanDuel. EJOCam won $5K. And Dirty Deeds 30 hit for $7,500. Some of our best screenshots aren't necessarily the huge scores. Bankroll building is a big part of becoming successful, and we love to see the good ROI hits too. Cusplove illustrated this perfectly, turning $2 into $800, while Wes turned $18 into $2,500 on DraftKings, and Jalapeno turned $198 into a monster $77K. His great pizza brought the great mojo in Cincinnati. Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Until next time, let's keep running pure.
Happy Saturday and welcome to the NBA Hardwood, and we have got a lot of fun for you on this Saturday. We got a 7-game slate. We're still waiting on a lot of injury news. We'll get to that in a second, but first I got to say hi, Kurt. How we doing, brother?
Doing good. We got the football in the background. I'm not going to pay too much attention to it though, because we got an NBA slate. We got a lot of news to focus on. I'm excited to get after it.
Yes, sir. And guys, by the way, if you got any questions or whatever, I'm going to be hanging out in the chat over on YouTube. And while we're talking about YouTube, click that like button, click that subscribe button. It helps us out over here at Run Pure Sports, and also helping us out today. It's going to be Glock. Glock, what's up, man? How we doing?
What's up, Crane? Excited to be on a show with you. First time ever. Heard a lot about you. You're a legend in this space. So I'm excited to be led, by your coattails today. And, it should be a fun show. I mean, obviously, Kurt said it. We have, a lot of news to wait for. Obviously, we'll touch on it later with the Giannis Q tag. But yeah, I mean, lots of news to wait on, but we'll try to break every game down for you as best as we can. And then, try to prepare you for each scenario so that, we can keep this heater going. I mean, we have tons of heaters going on RPS right now. Tambo shipping every other day. Nate Safai's starting his heater, shipping, FanDuel last night, DraftKings Showdown earlier in the week. So yeah, it's a good time at RPS and, looking to keep the train rolling on this fine Saturday.
I'm going to tell you something. One of the things about being a legend is that that means I'm old, right? That means I've been around forever. I realized the other day, I've been in this space since 2015, I think. So I've been doing shows for 8 years now. It's good to be here. It's good to be having fun over at Run Pure Sports and talking about a little bit of NBA. And obviously you guys brought up, we're still waiting on injury news. So with the big piece of injury news, and we're going to go game by game, so we're going to get to this game later. But the big piece of injury news we're waiting for is Giannis, currently questionable. I think he's sitting. I'm looking at this line. I see the Thunder and the Bucks in Milwaukee. It's only 6.5 point spread. I cannot imagine if Giannis was playing, this spread would be single digits. Kurt, are you with me here? Do you think he's sitting?
Yeah, I think I mean, 6.5. It's OKC. I think we should just break it down as if he's not playing, and then everyone knows what to do if he is playing. We've kind of seen that the whole entire year with Middleton out and everyone else fine. So I think we just break it down as if Giannis is not playing, and then just scrap that all. Everything we just said if Giannis is in.
Yeah, this is one of those weird spots, Glock, where I'm just like, if we talk about it as if Giannis is playing, next thing you know, he's going to be ruled out, and we can just say, that 5 minutes, we're never going to get back. So
Yep.
I'm going to pretend like he's not playing. I don't think he's playing. Glock, do you think he's playing?
Yeah, I mean, I would lean not, right? They are coming off a back-to-back last night. I think Giannis played 34 minutes against the Timberwolves last night. So did the other starters and Drew Holiday. So yeah, I mean, their starters are coming off, a pretty competitive game in Minnesota last night. So I would lean that he sits as well. And yeah, we'll definitely break down all the angles, all the viable plays as to who we think would be, strong plays if Giannis were to sit. And honestly, like if Giannis sits, would you be surprised if Drew Holiday sits? I wouldn't personally.
Nope.
So it's just something that, we need to keep an eye on for sure. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled for any sudden news because, in NBA, one piece of news will completely flip the slate upside down and, you're going to have to rebuild everything. So just keep your eyes peeled for sure.
Hey, nothing says a fun Saturday like Grayson Allen, not chalk night. Nothing says a fun Saturday like that. That's a good time. We're going to have a good time, of course. We're going to be going game by game. So let's go ahead and kick it off. We got the Nets and the Hornets up first. It's a 221.5 point total. Brooklyn, 4.5 point favorites on the road here. Glock, I'm going to kick it off with you because there's no Kyrie, obviously. There is no Ben Simmons. Not that he was doing anything anyways. It's the Kevin Durant show. Nate Klassen's coming off the nice game. You got Edmund Sumner. He's supposed to be starting a point guard for near minimum price. I mean, Joe Harris, Maurice O'Neal. I don't know. What do you think here, Glock? Or what are you doing on the Nets side?
Yeah, so I think this is one of my favorite games, and it's pretty easy because it starts off the slate. It's a tight spread, -4, somewhat high total. So it should be a competitive game, right? And we saw what Kevin Durant is capable of last night without, Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving. He flirted with a triple-double in basically 3/4 of play. If it wasn't a blowout, he would have easily gotten it and probably crossed like the 70 fantasy point threshold. So, definitely one of my favorite spend up options today is Kevin Durant. Obviously, all the usage funnels to him. And yeah, last night, if you're paying attention, we all saw what Steven Adams did in versus Charlotte last night, right? Biggs versus Charlotte is a narrative we're just going to continue to push here at RPS.
For years, it's been a narrative.
Exactly. So, I mean, Nico Claxton, he's not a big, but I still consider a big man, and he'll firmly be in play tonight for sure. Royce O'Neal, Edmund Sumner, Joe Harris, those guys are kind of more like last in type of plays for me. I'm not going to prioritize them, but they're going to be on the court a lot, right? And Royce O'Neal, 5K plus for Royce O'Neal is something that's just crazy to me. But
I can't do it.
If you look at his game logs, he's actually playing well and he's doing a little bit of everything. So I don't love him, but if you land on him as a last piece in, I'm totally fine with him. And yeah, I think on the Charlotte side, Terry Rozier is questionable. And so a lot of the plays in this game, will depend on whether or not he's available for me. Obviously, if he misses again and you think the game's competitive, Dennis Smith Jr., Kelly Oubre become, viable plays as a run back to Kevin Durant or Claxton. But I would definitely prefer Rozier if he's good to go. And we get kind of word that, he's not going to be limited anyway coming back from injury. Just because I think his upside's massive. When he was in there this year, he was a great tournament play every single time out. I know Kurt will touch on it. Terry Rozier's his boy. But yeah, I love Terry Rozier if he's in. And then I think a strong bounce back candidate, a guy that hurt us a lot last night, Jalen McDaniels. I didn't really watch the game, so I don't know exactly what happened to his minutes, but he's going to be in line for a lot of minutes once again, with the absence of Gordon Hayward. So I don't mind going right back to him at lower ownership and as a bounce back candidate. So those would be my plays from this game.
Yeah, Kurt, when I look at this spot, I see Durant, Jalen McDaniels, Glock mentioned him, and Terry Rozier. Like, these guys all seem like fine plays. I always like Kelly Oubre. I'm a Kelly Oubre guy, which is just a weird thing to say out loud, but I am. Kurt, what do you think about this game?
Yes, I'm just going to kind of reiterate everything he said. I love Durant. I agree. Close game. If he plays 4 quarters, he'll smash you. I think I'm pretty much locking him in tonight for myself. I actually, surprising, if Terry Rozier plays, I like him. It's 8K, but I mean, it's just a nut game script, I think. I'm with Glock. I love this game. I don't actually hate Royce O'Neal. I mean, it's gross to see him this high, but I don't mind him in as the last pieces. Like, I don't really I'm comfortable doing it, especially in cash. Jaden McDaniels, I love that for a bounce back game. I do think he loses a little bit, like a couple shots if Rozier's back. So I'll be like a little bit lower on him if Rozier's back. But if he's not, then I think I'm fully in on the McDaniels. I'm ready to get my heart broke by him again. It honestly is a better matchup. So I'm cool with going back to that. And as far as like Sumner and all of them, Seth Curry's back. Not really sure how much he's supposed to play, but it's enough to just kind of not put me on any of these guys besides like Claxton and Durant for the Brooklyn side. So that's about it for me, honestly. I don't mind the Oubre. If you want to play some Oubre, I mean, Hayward's out still. Like if Rozier says, let's go. It could be the Oubre game. I'm with it.
Yeah, I mean, if Oubre went for 40 DK tonight, would you really be surprised? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't be surprised
Like,
if he goes for like
especially
48.
Yeah, especially if Rozier sits. By the way, the chat's being mean to me today. I'm sitting here in the YouTube chat, and I get and this is what somebody says. I didn't know Crane knew anything about basketball. That's just shitty. That's just shitty.
That's
and it's hurt
hurtful.
my
That's
feelings.
really hurtful.
It's like, it breaks my heart a little bit. Like, I'm just sitting here talking about how I like Kelly Oubre, and I realize they might be right. I might not know what the hell I'm talking about.
No,
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the Pelicans and the Hawks. It's a 230.5 point total. Atlanta, 1 point favorite. Kurt, I'm going to start with you here because this is the kind of situations we usually like. High total, low spread. We like things, but the problem is I look at these pieces and they're all kind of expensive. So, Kurt, what are you doing here? Are you going to be able to stack this game up? Are you fading it? What are you doing?
No, so I feel like I'd like to get Glock's opinion, but I feel like I'm going to start treating these Pelicans kind of like Chicago back in the day, where it's like they're all priced appropriately and they're all back and healthy. So it's like I mean, if you want to take a stab on one of them, just like we say about the Bulls, it's okay. But I'm not going to go out of my way to do it. I really want to see. I mean, we're expecting Young to be back, right? If he's not, then you just hammer Murray. You hammer Murray, but I mean, Young should be back. Meh. I like other spin ups more. I don't really love anyone in this game with everyone healthy now. I mean,
yeah.
Hopefully, God can give you all more, but this is not really a game that I love too much.
Yeah, I don't have anything more for you. Like, it's just one of those things where if you want to play it and be different, I get it. Like, I mean, you look at the Vegas stuff. I fully understand wanting to play some of these guys, but it's just tough for me to do it when everybody's healthy. Glock, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just gonna echo y'all sentiments for sure. Like these teams like Atlanta, New Orleans Pelicans, when they're all healthy, they just have a bunch of dudes that take away usage from each other, right? And obviously we have Trae Young, who's questionable. The line, if we're looking at that, it seems to indicate that he'll be in. Obviously, Kurt touched on it. If Trae is out, obviously DeJounte Murray becomes a pretty smash play. But otherwise, if they're both in, I just think that they take away from each other's ceilings, right? You have Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Clint Capella takes away from John Collins. DeAndre Hunter just kind of looks more like a 3-and-D guy this year. He's not being as aggressive. Still priced up somewhat on DK at 4.7K, so I don't think I have interest in him. And then, on the New Orleans Pelicans side, even like when they were missing one guy, Brandon Ingram, to start the year, it was hard to click on anyone's names. Like CJ McCollum takes away from Jonas Valanciunas. Zion takes away from them as well. Herb Jones takes a lot of peripherals away from all of them. So, I mean, they just have a bunch of bodies that take away from each other. And like Crane mentioned, the only purpose of playing this game is to get somewhat contrarian, right? Like I'm not seeing any ownership on anyone in this game, like over like 12, 13%. So, if you do pick a piece from this game, just know that it is contrarian and not many people are going to be on it. But other than that, like, unless Trae's out, I probably am just going to stay away from this game.
God, this game stack is just so attractive. I just don't know how you do it. Like, I don't know how, because you can't play Trae and DeJounte together at those prices. You can't sit around and play Zion and Ingram together at those prices. Like, Zion, I think, is a fine play at 8.8, but I mean, again, they're just better plays on this slate. Maybe one of those better plays. We saw Jason Tatum absolutely go off last night. 225-point total between the Celtics and the Knicks. Boston, a 4-point favorite on the road. Glock, we just saw Boston take care of the Bulls. 10K for Jason Tatum. Again, I'm not sure this is the slate for it. What do you think?
Man, it's tough. Like, I haven't really been a guy that's rostered many Celtics because I kind of think they're in the same bucket as, two of the teams that we just talked about in Atlanta and New Orleans, where they just have a bunch of good, solid guys that take away from each other, right? You got Jaylen Brown taken away from Jason Tatum, and then Horford taken away from any other bigs that are in the lineup. But I mean, there's really no denying like how good Tatum has played, right? If you look at his game log, 59.5 and 66.5 fantasy points in his last 2 games. I obviously think he would be my favorite target, if picking any Celtic, as he gets to go into the Mecca, right? He's going into Madison Square Garden. And, even though he played last night, he's going to want to show out in, the greatest basketball arena in the world. So I do like Tatum. And then obviously huge injury news here is that Al Horford's going to be out. So depending on whoever Boston decides to slide into the starting lineup, whether it may be Noah Vonleh, Grant Williams, Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, I think those 4, regardless, should be in line for more minutes due to Al Horford's absence. And yeah, I mean, I think this game could have the potential to play smaller because on the opposite side for the Knicks, you have Mitchell Robinson doubtful, right? Last night we saw Isaiah Hartenstein start in the second half in his place, and then Obi Toppin played almost the entire fourth quarter. Just because I feel like, Dibs, he's going to ride the hot hand. But then again, I'm not sure how much minutes they want to commit to Hartenstein. I don't think he's going to go out there and give you 33 minutes, right? They're going to have to give him some minutes and then play small in the rest.
I mean, Hartenstein projects as one of the best point per dollar plays on the slate. He's going to be very popular at 4,400, starting at center against probably Noah Vonleh. So to me, Hartenstein's a guy that if you're looking for value, I don't mind him. Kurt, I saw you had some people coming on the show with us, but I gave a little wave. I don't know if they saw, but yeah, man, I'm looking at this game and I see a little bit of value. And one of the value pieces we talked about, Hartenstein, Malcolm Brogdon to me at 4.6 is one of the best value plays on the slate as well.
So
I think
for
you're muted, Kurt.
So for me, this is just a game where I'm going to rotate value bigs and more than anything. So I'm going to do Hartenstein protecting the best. We'll have him probably my favorite. I do agree with Glock. I don't think they're going to run him out a lot of minutes, but the dude's super efficient. So even if he gets like 25, I'm comfortable playing 4-4. I'll take a shot on Toppin. I'll take a shot on whoever starts for Boston. I think Vonleh, 3K, but I'll take a stab. And Grant Williams as a pivot off someone who will be chalky and Hartenstein. 4-4. If Grant's making his corner threes, I mean, he can play upwards of 30 minutes. He could definitely fall into like a 30-point game. So yeah, I'm just taking shots on the cheap bigs. That's my only strategy for this one.
Glock, I didn't ask you about Brogdon specifically. Is he somebody that you're going to prioritize?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I mentioned it, like this game has the potential to go small, right? With the absence of Al Horford, Mitchell Robinson on each respective side, Malcolm Brogdon could easily close, right? And they could.
He looked
start
great
Derek
last
White.
night too.
Yeah,
like I watched that whole game. He looked amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And he's only 4.6K. I'm seeing only a 25-minute projection, 26-minute projection around the industry, but he's still projecting really well in that, limited time. So yeah, I'll definitely have interest in Malcolm Brogdon. As you said, Isaiah Hartenstein, very strong play. I will mention the first game of the season, he played 40 minutes. I believe that was in overtime against Memphis. So that just kind of shows you if he's playing well, I think Thibs is willing to ride him. So I think he's a fantastic play, but Obi Toppin, I think, is someone that you definitely should consider as a lower owned pivot and someone that could definitely, take away some run in a small ball type of lineup for the Knicks.
All right, let's talk Thunder and Bucks. And again, we're waiting on the big news of the slate. Is Giannis going to play? We all are guessing not. So we're going to talk about this game as if he's not playing, and just understand that if ends up being ruled in, everything we say doesn't matter. You can just play Giannis, and that's that. And these other pieces on Milwaukee aren't very exciting. Kurt, I'm going to go to you because I'm looking at a spot right here where everybody is going to be playing, if Giannis is out, these value pieces on Milwaukee. I don't hate the run back with Shea here if you want to get a little bit cute. He's 9.9. Kurt, what do you think about this game? Uh-oh. Kurt, are you there? Oh.
He went dark.
Pour one out. Kurt, I'm so sorry. That's all right. What does he think about this game? He thinks that Giannis is going to make Kurt and just say, bye-bye. All right, Glock, it's just us, baby. All right, so when I look at this game, if Giannis is out, well, first off, let's talk about if Giannis is out, okay? Let's talk about this Milwaukee side because a lot of people are just immediately going to go to Drew. And we were kind of talking pre-show where we said, I don't know if that's the best play because we'd be a little bit concerned about Drew's minutes then. If Giannis is out, are you going to go to Drew?
I mean, I really do think he's a super strong play. I think obviously a lot of ownership will likely funnel to him. I mean, he's been in great form. I think Big T a few weeks ago said Drew has no ceiling, and then he just decided to start having a ceiling. If you look at his log, 66 points, 52.75. He had a 40 ball and then a 54-point fantasy point performance. So three of his last 4 games, he's crossed the 50-point threshold. And without Giannis in the mix, you would think that he would have the possible chance to have a good game. But, I remember last year there were some scenarios where Giannis would sit and then Drew would be active, play like 20 minutes or so, and then just not play his full complement of minutes. So I do think that's, in the realm of possibilities and something to keep an eye on for. Like, we need to see what Coach Bud says about, limiting his stars and stuff like that. Definitely keep your eyes peeled on the news, but obviously if Drew isn't limited, I have interest in him. I think you're a little lighter on him, but another guy I definitely would have interest in is Bobby Portis. And then based on the starting lineup,
I love
ahead,
Bobby Portis. I love Bobby Portis just in general, because when the dude gets out there and he gets in a mood, and you never know what kind of mood he's going to be in, but when he gets in the right mood, he's just going to jack it up 20 times, and it's a beautiful thing to watch if you roster him.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why he loves being on the Bucks, right? Because Giannis is going to have his scheduled rest throughout the year, and then he's going to have his games where he can just come in and eat and get you 30 and 10, right? So yeah, I think he'd obviously be a strong play, and then based on whoever they start, like maybe Jordan Nora gets a start, if Bobby Portis gets the start, who knows? Those guys would obviously be strong plays as well. And then yeah, I like what you said about SGA. Like, if Giannis is out, this game becomes a lot more competitive. Like, it has a lot more of a chance to be competitive. So running it back with a guy like SGA, and then you pair it with like a Bobby Portis and maybe like a Milwaukee value piece, that is something I'll definitely consider. Right now I have the game marked on the playbook as fine, which means like 1 or 2 pieces is fine from this game. But if Giannis is ruled out, then I really think you could bump this game up to like a potential elite spot where you could stack it up in a lot of ways.
So let's say Giannis is out, and I kind of think you have to make that decision then. First off, do you want to go with Drew, or do you want to go with some of these value pieces? I know you mentioned Jordan Nwora. I think he's fine. I think Grayson Allen would become a phenomenal play if Giannis was out, especially if you're not playing Drew, because you can go one of 2 ways here. Okay, I want to play Drew Holiday. Then I don't think these Milwaukee pieces, I think they're fine, but I don't think they become must plays. I think if you decide you're not playing Drew, though, that's when you kind of say, I probably need a few of these guys. I probably want to look at Jevon Carter, Grayson Allen, Bobby Portis, Jordan Nwora, and probably get maybe even a little Brolo and get at least 2 to 3 of those guys in your lineup if you're not playing Drew, assuming Giannis is out. Like, does that make sense to you?
100%. Yeah. Like, it's a price thing, right? So 8.4K for Drew, that's a lot to commit for one player on one side, even though a lot of usage is going to him. But if you do fade him, then you go someone like Grayson Allen. He's only 4K, right? And then you combine that with someone like Brook Lopez, 5.6K. That's basically 2 for the price of 1. And, you're expecting a lot less out of those plays than if you were to just roster someone like Drew Holiday, who has an elevated price tag. So yeah, I think you're on the right track, Rain, for sure. And definitely something I'll be considering as well. And, in that path that you mentioned, like, if you do fade Drew, let's say like Grayson Allen, Jevon Carter, Jordan Nwora, in most parts, those guys would be game script proof. And what I mean by that is like, these guys are probably going to play no matter what. Maybe less or so on Grayson Allen, but guys like Jordan Nwora, no matter what the score is, he's going to be in there getting his reps in, right? This is a game without Giannis. And so they're going to get the looks at their young guys and going to want them to play no matter what the score is. So I think that route is totally viable as well.
The chat wants to know about Marjan Beauchamp, and you're nodding your head. I don't know anything about the guy. It's all you. Go.
I mean, they drafted him this year, and they seem to like him for sure. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he started, right? The last 2 games, he's actually got decent runs, 16 minutes, 18 minutes, and he was pretty productive in both of those games. He dropped 12.5 in 2 games ago, and then 20.25 in actually yesterday's game. So, Coach Bud, who knows? We just have to keep an eye on the news and what the starting lineup could be, because, Coach Bud is really random and can be a total donkey at times. So we just got to wait and see what he does and react accordingly.
Well, speaking of reacting accordingly, let's go ahead and react to our boy Kurt being back. What's up, Kurt? Welcome home.
Shout out to my boy Chandler. Internet went out at my boy Alex's. He fired up his hotspot, so I'm on the hotspot right now. So shout out to
Okay,
Chandler
so
for the hookup.
okay, so the hotspot. Here, my question to you is that gonna just crush the data for the rest of the month? Like, because I've done this before, and you do video for an hour, and you get the bye to the data.
It's pretty good for hotspot. It looks pretty good.
Right? Thank you. He's gonna get that message later. He's like, "You've used up 1,000 milligrams of data. You're fine."
Oh yeah. That's gonna be an extra $600.
1,000 milligrams.
We were just talking about the Milwaukee game, Kurt. We said, if Giannis is out, you can either play Drew, or if you don't want to play Drew, you kind of have to play a couple of these other Milwaukee pieces because they're simply too cheap for the usage they're going to get. We also like Shea on the other side. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I could see them just like, I think you do make a lineup going into the night. You reserve an extra lineup and you say, look, I'm going to build this as if Giannis is out. And then you may even do one if Giannis and Drew are out, but at least just Giannis, and then you have Drew in there. And then I could really see this being a game where they just say, okay, Bobby Portis and Grayson Allen, go out there and just do you. Like, I mean,
Chuck, baby.
Yeah, I mean, they're undefeated. Like, give Drew and Giannis the day off. Let Portis, honest to God, they could probably go out there and still win the game. Like, so.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what happened is then Thunder would be okay, we'll rule out Shea. Like, they'll do some stupid shit like that. But I think you should kind of like have a narrative like that. I don't mind that at all. And even like, it's not like Grayson Allen's the absolute worst play if you get stuck playing a 4K Grayson Allen against OKC. It's not the absolute worst.
I don't mind. I mean, Grayson Allen, he's cleared 20 in half his games. Like, yeah. I think Grayson Allen's fine.
It's like you have a fine play and you have the absolute nut, like 15 to 20 shot attempts if like it falls right. So I like that.
All right, let's talk Houston at Minnesota. But before we do that, chat. I'm hanging out with you guys. We're chatting. We're talking a little bit. I need a favor from you. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. That helps us out over at Run Pure Sports. And we love it when you guys help us out because we are here to help you guys out, talking on the NBA Hardwood about tonight's NBA DFS slate. Let's talk Houston and Minnesota. 233.5 point total. Minnesota 7-point favorites at home. We have no Rudy Gobert here, which means to me, Karl Anthony Towns, are we going to get that role that we saw last year? Because Towns has just been a disaster next to Gobert this year. Kurt, I'm going to start with you since I'm sure you were doing nothing but studying this game during your break. So Karl Anthony Towns, to me, I don't know if he's going to be popular, but he's going to be popular on my lineups.
Yeah. Look, I actually played him last night and I cashed with the lineup he was in, so he couldn't have done that terrible. And that was with Gobert. I just did a lineup where I was like, well, I'm going to go to dinner, but if Gobert's out, then I'm very happy. But Towns can still get me there. He cashed, so definitely doing it tonight. Obviously, if I was willing to risk it last night, now I got the Gobert news official. Definitely love Towns. That middle's that finally opened up for Anthony Edwards. Don't mind him for 8.3. We've kind of been waiting for this all year, so it's nice to get this news. And then the two highest projected cheap guys after this news was Kyle Anderson and Big Jelly from LSU, Naz Reid. Don't mind going either of them. I prefer Big Naz Reid. I like him more, especially that he'll get the blowout run. As far as, I mean, it's really nice that Silas finally let Sengun play like a full amount of minutes. Hopefully we'll keep seeing that because I would love to get the Sengun-Towns matchup. 33 minutes from Sengun tonight. I promise you he'll get you there. I don't know how that's not a lock. The only thing I'm worried about is it's not about Towns' defense. It's only about Silas, like what he does with Sengun. You have to imagine, right, Glock, that it's just, okay, look, this guy's legit 30 minutes from here on out, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been hoping. And I've watched some Houston games where he like plays his first quarter stint, like 8 to 10 minutes, and then he'll just get benched for the entire first half. And it's like, what are you doing? I mean, one of Sengun's main issues is foul trouble. And obviously, I was going to mention it. He's played 30 minutes in back-to-back games, 30 or more, right? And that's a great sign. So I think really the only roadblock that's preventing him from really crushing tonight is going to be foul trouble. I would be shocked if Houston, gets crazy with him, Silas, and only lets him play 25 minutes. But I would expect around 30 minutes or more tonight for sure. And yeah, I think he's a smash play.
Both these bigs are going to crush tonight. Sengun and Towns, like neither of them can guard each other, and we don't typically play centers against each other. But like this is a spot where I'm just like, I don't care. I'm playing both these dudes.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is like, I'm hoping they both realize like, look, let's not get each other in foul trouble now, because I could definitely see Towns getting him in foul trouble. So I am a little bit worried, but then again, like, man,
Cat's too soft for that. He's too soft,
exactly.
bro.
You
He hangs
can't.
out on the outside too much to worry about it.
You won't get anywhere if you play if you're worried about foul trouble every game. You won't get anywhere in NBA DFS. Like, you can't be worried about that shit. So I agree with Crane. I think you just fire both of them up. I love it.
Glock, anybody else in this game for you? Is it just the bigs?
Yeah, I mean, I think we didn't mention the Jabari Smith and Jashawn Tate injuries.
Big.
You know, obviously Jabari Smith is out and he's been starting. So depending on whoever Houston decides to slide into the starting lineup, I think will become, you know, a strong value play. I think the front runner for that starting spot would be KJ Martin, small forward and power forward eligible on DraftKings, 4.4K. I think he's a great value play of starting. I would be a little less convinced of being on him if he wasn't starting. It could be a guy like Tari Eason, right? They're high on him. He's 3.7K. So keep an eye out on that. I know I keep saying that, but tonight is very, very news dependent, starting lineup dependent. But yeah, I mean, that's from the Houston side. I do think Sengun would be my preference if anyone on the Houston side, but don't forget about these guards, man. Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green. I think I prefer Kevin Porter Jr., obviously, if I had the salary to get up to him, because I think his peripheral upside is higher than Jalen Green's. Now that Jabari Smith's not in the rotation, I think KPJ could be, you know, in line for more higher boards upside. So like a 20 and 10 rebound game and 5 assist games, totally in the possibility for KPJ. And I think he's a really interesting tournament run back, you know, opposite of Karl Anthony Towns. And then you could even fully stack this game up. In the playbook, I wrote it up as elite. So you could go like, you know, one of KPJ or Jalen Green, get you KJ Martin, Sengun in there, and then run it back with Karl Anthony Towns on the other side. I think that's totally in play tonight and definitely something I'll be considering for sure.
I have one more guy I want to mention in this game.
Go for it.
So I love KJ Martin. He's been doing really well when Tate's out. But also, so we got Naz Reid's going to be in the rotation a little bit more for today for Minnesota from LSU. His fellow LSU big man, he didn't play with him, but still, fellow LSU big man, Tari Eason on the other side. Been getting solid minutes, and he's 3.7. I will be taking a shot on Tari Eason, another versatile big man out of LSU. Hell, need to do an all LSU big man line with Tari Eason and Naz Reid. Get a little funky with it.
Throw a Stromile Swift in there too.
Shit, yeah. Let's go.
that was the first. I didn't think of Shaq first. I didn't think of Shaq's kid first. I thought of Stromile Swift because I love NBA Draft Bus. But I do want to say both Kyle Anderson and Naz Reid are both going to be very popular on this slate. They're both projecting very well. And if you need last guys in the lineup, I think they were both perfectly fine. Speaking of perfectly fine, it sounds like Terry Rozier is perfectly fine because according to Mark Stein, that Terry Rozier is going to be in tonight. So takes away a little bit of my Oubre love. But Terry Rozier sitting there, if you want to pair him up with Kevin Durant, I think that is perfectly reasonable. All right, let's move on to the Spurs at the Nuggets. 235.5 point total. Denver, big old 11.5 point favorites at home. Jokic, I don't think he's going to be popular tonight, Glock. Is he going to be popular in your lineups?
Yeah, I mean, looking at him, projected under 10% owned right now. Man, I don't know. It's like that 70 burger from Jokic is coming sooner rather than later. Yeah. And I'd rather be, you know, on the wave when that happens, especially against this tanking Spurs team. Well, tanking in quotation marks, they're still winning a lot of games somehow. But I still don't think they're good. Eventually they're going to, you know, regress back to the mean and start losing games. And, you know, this night could be the start of it, right? I think the Denver side is always pretty simple for me. It's kind of like Dallas. You just take the stud or you move on, right? Obviously Jamal Murray has looked great. 6.2K is kind of a stretch for me, I think, on this kind of slate on DraftKings, but I think on FanDuel at 5.8K, I believe he is. I think he's a little more in play there. Point guard, shooting guard eligible. But on the rest of the Denver pieces, they don't attract me that much. It'd just be Jokic. And then, you know, on the opposite side on the Spurs, you know, I think my favorite play would be Devin Vassell, but I'd like for him to start rather than come off the bench. Last night, he came off the bench and played really, really well. I think he nuked in 25 minutes of play. I think he went 12 of 16 from the field and put up 29 fantasy points. I mean, I think he's their best player when healthy. So I do like him as a run back option, guard and forward eligible on DraftKings if you're able to afford him. And it doesn't look like he's going to, you know, come with much ownership at all. So I like Devin Vassell, but on the condition that he starts. You know, he may just be too good that they just want him to ride pine on the bench at the end of games to, you know, to lose. So I think Devin Vassell is completely fine. Obviously, Keldon Murray always has high chance for upside. Jacob Poeltl as well. But I think this is a fine game overall. Like mini correlations are definitely interesting, but something I'm not going to prioritize. I think other spots on the slate like Houston, Minnesota, and Brooklyn, Charlotte are where I'm going to go when it comes to game stacks.
Yeah, it's really weird because I'm sitting here looking at this game. It's the highest total on the slate, and I'm with you. I don't have a ton of interest in it. Kurt, do you have a lot of interest in this game?
Yeah, no, I think if you can afford Jokic, go up, get him, it's fine. I don't like playing Spurs roulette. I think I'm locking Murray on FanDuel. And if I had to pick a Spur, give me my Florida State boy, Devin Vassell. And also Terry Rozier not on a minutes limit, so I'm probably going to core him, honestly. I like to spend up at guard. Like I like the low forwards. I like to spend up at guard, and Rozier kind of lets me do that.
Yeah, no,
I'm shocked, Crane, because I think last time Terry Rozier was healthy, he dropped like a 50 burger, and Kurt was in chat, like just absolutely raging.
I hate Terry Rozier, dude, so much.
Why? Because he used to be a Celtic, and then like he left you on bad terms, or what?
It just seems like he's always chalk and nukes. I'm just like the game where he goes like 3 of 20 shooting is coming, and you all will be so pissed. I should just play.
Fair enough.
I'm playing tonight.
Yeah, you're playing it. So
that's tonight.
We know what's going to happen tonight. You're finally playing him. Like we've all seen this script before. Yeah, we know how this goes.
Oh, all right. First game back, rusty. Oh boy.
Portland at Phoenix, 215.5 point total. Phoenix 11-point favorites, but a lot of the plays are going to come from Portland tonight because no Damian Lillard, no Anthony Simons, which means you get a lot of Justice Winslow, you get a lot of Showdown Sharp, a lot of Josh Hart, Glock. I don't want to click on any of these names, but I feel like I have to.
Yeah, I mean, we got the news that Lillard and Simons are out, so it does make point Justice Winslow, a pretty strong play today, right? 4.9K, going to be in line for a ton of minutes. Obviously, they're going against a really, really tough Phoenix team, who I think is like, obviously one of the best regular season teams, that we've had in a while, including Milwaukee. But yeah, I mean, we can kind of use last night's example, because they had the same guys out last night, right? You got Jeremy Grant is going to have a ton of usage, hit the game winner last night. Josh Hart, Justice Winslow, they're all going to be in line for heavy minutes and, be in line for more of the same tonight, right? And then on the Phoenix side, Cam Johnson is out. So we saw last night that Torrey Craig started the second half and be somewhat productive. I don't ever love Torrey Craig, honestly, but he's going to be, if he's starting, he's going to be in line for, high 20s in minutes and, at 3.8K forward and center eligible, he makes for a fine value play. Devin Booker over the 9K thresholds, I can never get behind. I just classify him as one of like those raw scorers where cool, he can get you 40 points raw, but can he get you 5 assists and 5 rebounds to go with it and crush his tag? I'm not sure, right? Like, sure, I don't think you want 40 raw points at 9.3K, so I'll pass on him and then, go onto higher upside guys like DeAndre Ayton at 6.7K, who can get you that 20 and 10. They're going to have to use him a lot tonight, right, up against Nurkic, so I think he's firmly in play. And then CP3 at 7.9K, I think that's a little overpriced, but, opposite of Devin Booker, I think he has peripheral upside, right? So maybe he can just score you 14 points, but he can get you 10 assists and 10 rebounds as well. So I would prefer Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, Torrey Craig on the Phoenix side. And on the Portland side, my favorite play is definitely Justice Winslow. And then, obviously as a last in type of piece, I don't mind Jeremy Grant or Josh Hart, but, similar to the Spurs and Nuggets game, I don't love this game for stacking purposes. I'd probably just get 1 or 2 pieces here and there and then move on with the earlier pieces instead.
I don't even think Nasir Little is insane. Like mid-20s minutes, like 3.1K, you could really use that salary. All right, let's go over to you, Kurt, because I don't want to click any of these guys. I sure as hell don't want to click Torrey Craig. Like I get that, and he's going to be popular too. I'm looking at just the projections. Like he's projected over 6x. So I fully understand people are going to be playing Torrey Craig. I am perfectly fine fading Torrey Craig chalk night.
Why?
What do you think about? Go ahead.
Keon Johnson is going to outscore Torrey Craig and has like a much higher ceiling than Torrey Craig. Keon Johnson for Portland. He shot 4 of 13 last night. Played solid minutes. I mean, Wofford's not going to be able to – I mean, it's not in the same position, but still Wofford's back in the rotation, so maybe Keon loses a couple minutes. But still, I mean, I would much rather play Keon Johnson in the same game for 3,700. That's just me, though.
What about these other pieces, these Portland guys? So you get a lot of these mid-range guys, Justice Winslow, Showdown Sharp, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, they all seem like they're in play to me.
I didn't even like Sharp like out of high school. I don't know. That guy just has a lot to develop. He'll get there one day. I like Grant. I had him last night. I was happy. Winslow, don't mind that. If I had to rank it, I'd probably do like Grant, like points for value, and also like putting in ownership. I'd rank it Grant, Keon Johnson, Winslow.
And you love Keon Johnson.
Yeah, I just think
It's not a great day for Tennessee, buddy.
Hey, I know, but I just think he's an ultimate pivot off the Craig Chalk. I think it's funny to troll people like that.
Kurt, you got to get on
Alright.
FanDuel because Sharp is way, way easier to stomach over there. 4.3K on FanDuel versus 5.4K on DraftKings. Man, 5.4K on DraftKings is 0% owned Shaden Sharp.
That's usually a pretty good sign that somebody's a good play over on FanDuel. If they're like $900 cheaper than the DK price, that's usually a pretty
I'll play him just for the minutes over there. I'm with
Kurt,
the block on Aiden too.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you like anybody on Phoenix, Kurt?
I'm not going to play Booker or Paul tonight. I know I said I'm spinning up at guard, but if I fall on Booker as the last piece and that guard like spinned up range, I don't mind it, but I'm not in love with that at all.
All right, guys, appreciate you guys clicking the like button. Appreciate you guys clicking the subscribe button. It is time to go to our plays today. So let's go to the Glocked and Loaded play of the day. Glock, who you got for us, buddy?
Yeah, so I think when you look at the context of tonight's slate, you have a ton of viable forwards and centers. And this is with Giannis ruled in. So you just go down the list: Karl-Anthony Towns, power forward, center; Kevin Durant, small forward; Nikola Jokic, Alperen Sengun, center; DeAndre Ayton, center; Naz Reid, power forward, center; Isaiah Hartenstein, center. Obviously, if Giannis is ruled out, Bobby Portis, he's power forward, center eligible. You have Nicholas Claxton against Charlotte, center eligible. So I think that, these forwards and centers, someone's going to get squeezed. And my guess is and who I'm going to make my play of the day is Alperen Sengun, 22% projected right now. I think he has the potential to be squeezed. Maybe people want to correlate, now that Terry Rozier's in, maybe people want to do like a Kevin Durant, Claxton, Terry Rozier stack, and then pair that with a Hartenstein. I'm going to go ahead and go with Sengun and then try to pair him with, some correlations on the Minnesota side. So I'll go with Alperen Sengun. I think a play like him today, obviously they've been running him more, 2 straight 30-plus minute games. I think he has the opportunity to smash tonight and the potential to be squeezed for sure ownership-wise. So I'll go with Sengun as my play.
All right, Alperen Sengun there. Tanning bed play of the day. Kurt, I love the name. Am I going to love the player? Who you got?
I'm going to go Terry Rozier, baby. I'm going to mush the hell out of him. Terry freaking Rozier. Let's go. I don't really love the other guard spin ups, and there's so many value for in mid-tier forwards I like. So give me Rozier. He's going to if he fails me, I know he's going to go out there chucking. So I can't hate the player. Just got to hate the game.
Yeah, he's definitely going to go out there chucking. Against Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, that's just what you have to do. So I'm going to be interested to see what Rozier does. I'm building my lineup right now. I'm going to throw Sengun in there. I'm going to throw Rozier in there. And I'm going to throw my boy Karl-Anthony Towns in there. And then that's just sit and wait. Hey, I'm thrilled with that start. We're going to sit here and wait for this Milwaukee Bucks news, obviously. Up to lock, make sure for the members, make sure you're hanging out in Discord, because obviously whatever news comes through, and this is a slate where we're waiting on a lot of news. So whatever news comes through, I'm going to be watching this Discord to make sure I get it. I hope you guys are too. And check us out over on Run Pure Sports if you're not a member, because on nights like tonight, in the NBA especially, it is worth the price of admission, because you get that late news and then all of a sudden you say, God, I got to switch to this guy, to that guy, to this guy, because this news is crazy. It really just saves your ass time and time again being a member over at Run Pure Sports. We got to get out of here, though. Appreciate everybody watching. It's been a good time, and good luck in your contest tonight. For Glock, for Kurt, I'm Eric. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.